We are live and in color. Welcome in to the Bobby McMann edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Frank the Tank, not from Alaska, Baraska.
Oh, you got it.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus. Thanks for joining us today.
Ready to go?
Where did you have Bobby McMann at 2 career NHL goals, not knowing that he was playing till 4 o'clock, coming up with a hat trick on 6 shots last night?
I saw someone say that he was plus 700 to score a goal. So,
really?
Yeah. So I don't know what happens when you do the multiple. It's not 700 times 3 to get to whatever those odds were. It's a big number for him to have scored a hat trick. So
I think
a shocker.
I think the odds of him scoring a goal was similar to the ones that the Gardner will actually be done in 3 years.
Oh, did you see that?
I did not see that. Sammy told me about it.
What is going on? I can't even get on the Gardner from the East End.
Yeah, so it's 2 lanes shut down both ways from Dufferin to Strawn. And may I remind you, we are hosting the literal World Cup in 2 years.
Yeah, but don't worry, they're going to have it open for that portion somehow.
Oh, okay.
Whatever repairs are being done will be fine at that time.
So I think the odds are very similar to it actually being done, too.
Yeah.
You know.
You guys
Long
don't
shot?
you don't use it to come to work every day, do you?
No.
No.
Okay.
I take the Red Rocket every day.
All right.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's just brutal. That's all I've been thinking about all day. It's not just the Gardner that's affected. Not to do City News 680 here, but we're doing our Toronto hour. People that are listening right now, there's many people on the Gardner at this very moment listening to my voice. Think about how bad it is in rush hour right now.
Right.
4 lanes down. Oh my
traffic into
God.
the city. Dude, I bought my first ever house last year,
Yes.
2 years ago. Thank you very much.
Yes. Wow,
in the
congrats.
East End, and like the day after I bought it, they just ripped down the ramp to the garden. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Can I get my money back,
How long
please?
until I can access that again?
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Sorry.
You sure you don't want to do
You
more?
guys done your 680 traffic
We're
report?
trying to bail you out. You got the sleepy eyes today. We're just trying to get it. Power through
How
the
you doing
show
over
for
there,
you.
Kippy?
Well, will the Gardner be ready by the time Morgan Rielly's suspension's over?
5 games.
5 games.
Was the number both hosts of this show predicted.
We didn't get the news out fast enough yesterday, but they did get it out prior to puck drop. And yeah, we said it 5.
Yeah.
I said 1 underneath Perron's. And I don't know, your thoughts.
Can I ask you about the report out there that it was leaked before the Leafs actually knew what the number was? Did you see that?
Really? No.
Yeah. That there was some, that Kevin Weeks leaked the number. That was the first thing, and maybe that they got that news broken to them by a newsbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah. I don't really care.
Okay.
Not to whatever, but like it doesn't.
It certainly adds to the conspiracy theory that they're out to get the Leafs.
Does it?
Because there is a general feeling that the whole thing was kind of set up, I think, just because the whole hockey world watches when it's a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Why is it?
Anything better than beating the Leafs? Hey,
Why is it this whole thing that there's a conspiracy theory about the Leafs? So hold on. Is there any factual basis why they would want the Leafs to take the hard end of things? Given the size of the audience, you think they would want to cater to? What would be the potential reasons?
Because I think of us. I think that.
Me and Kip?
Yeah, no, us 3. Just us 3. We're the only ones
Just the
talking
two
about
of
the
us.
Leafs.
Yeah.
Well, where would you want to hear anybody else talk about the Leafs other than us 3?
Right.
But I think there's so much there's wind from everybody talking about this for so long. It feels like they're going to look soft if they go soft on the Leafs.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't know if I believe that Pettersson hates the Leafs or whatever it is. But to me, it's like, I tweeted it out, and boy, people are still, my Twitter mentions are still a war zone. But I said that there's a Leaf suspension tax, and it's always 2 to 3 more games than it should be. And I just feel you can never convince me otherwise that there's not a Leaf suspension tax.
There is something to be said that the rest of the league does watch the way the Leafs get treated, for sure. And we've talked about this on multiple occasions, that like there is this ongoing jealousy of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it always has to do with the attention that they get or the money that they make. And it pisses people off because
they hate us because they
whether they're in first place or last place, it doesn't change. And everybody else doesn't live by that same principle. So therefore, there's a certain arrogance around the Toronto Maple Leafs. So when there's a chance to stick it to them, they want to see you get stuck.
But the league shouldn't want that. You look at other leagues, and it's like the NBA will do anything to have the Lakers be successful and to cater to LeBron. And you look at the Yankees and like those leagues. Those are their meal ticket.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
They prop up the Leafs prop up 3 teams in the league financially with the money they make. You think they would go out of their way to cater to them? So in terms of kicking around theories, what about Brendan Shanahan?
Gary Batman.
He was the former Department of Player Safety head. He's been involved since he left there. This is when all these stats you see right now about the Leafs getting the hard end of the deal is since Pettersson has taken over and Shanahan's been out. Is there some sort of relationship there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Listen, I don't know. Some people are suggesting, would Brendan Shanahan have helped or hurt the process by being involved? I'm how does a president not go into a call and protect his player?
Yeah, and you think he would know the ins and outs of the system in a way that he could say...
Yeah, but there's just... I don't think there would be any bearing on that one way or the other. It's just... It is what it is. But I'd be a little upset if I was the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, knowing that the PA had no idea how many games there were suspensions for Morgan. The Leafs didn't know. Morgan didn't know. Kevin Weeks knew before all 3 of them knew.
I guess I'm different. I don't care about this.
Where would that information have come from?
Well, one of the guys on the panel there probably sent a text to maybe Weeks or whatever.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen.
Changed,
it doesn't change anything. But why?
Well, I think
why would you leak that information and you're not leaking every other suspension?
It would. If I'm a person in the Leafs front office, I am livid that information came through a leak as opposed to the leagues tweeting it out. And I know that you're making a face, but it just shows that
it has no bearing. But
but you're saying rather than every other suspension, do we know that every other suspension doesn't leak?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
I don't think
pretty
we do.
much.
I don't think. I don't know. I just don't see. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I know that, but it's just it's a personal. It's just personal. Yeah. That's all. It's a personal leak. It's a personal that.
I agree. The Leafs should know first. By the way, I'm not trying to be
Morgan should know before Kevin Weeks is leaking it.
Yeah. Of course they should.
100%.
Right.
I'm with you on that.
The other.
But by the way, they are going to appeal it.
Yeah, they are going to appeal it, which again lends itself to maybe a bit of a, conspiracy theory that the reason why it didn't get to 6 games is because 6 goes to an independent arbitrator and 5 doesn't. 5 only goes to Gary and ends with Gary. 6 goes to an independent judge.
Oh, yeah. I'm way in on that conspiracy theory. I'm in on that.
Are you?
Tinfoil hat. 100%.
Thank you very much.
They don't want some other person to come in and show them up and embarrass the process and whatever. This is the safest thing they could have done.
Sammy, what do you
to give
think?
them the
Bud,
most
am I
games
onto
possible.
something?
Yes, you are.
I think over the last 3 years of doing the show, I have really improved on being Conspiracy Joe with the Leafs. Yeah. I've stopped talking with the refs as much and being hard done by as a Leaf fan and all this stuff. But this one's revving the engines again, boys. Can I read a tweet that I got from somebody yesterday for you?
If it really will make you upset or piss you off, absolutely.
It really hit home. What exactly are the benefits of being a Leaf fan anymore? Players don't take discounts. Every game against them is the other team's Stanley Cup. Penalized more than any other teams. Punished more strictly. Get the fewest 5-on-3s. Called soft, but when they're not soft, they're banned.
You know why? Because you're relevant.
What's
all of those things.
I read that and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, that was hit me way too hard.
But you matter. People care about what's going on with your club.
Good message. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, what is the benefit of being a Leafs fan?
What is the benefit of us talking the rest of the show?
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyways.
I could see that being the case. So they're going to be without Morgan for 5 games. Even if this appeal is won, for whatever reason, they drag their feet on this sort of stuff, and it never seems to get done in time to save you actual hockey games.
So was it you mentioning that Sheldon had said that Brad Treliving was going to make a public comment
He said last night
that they walked back?
Last night during his press conference,
Yeah.
post-game press conference, somebody asked him about the suspension. Clearly, I think it was Terry Koshan that asked him. And he said that tomorrow, Treliving is going to address you guys. And we got news today that they're appealing it, and he will not address them. So, in itself, to me, that's sort of newsy in the fact that, was this just typing out the email and not sending it when you're mad? Like, what's the, like, you're pissed off and you just take a breath?
Yes. To your point, 100%. This is just maybe sleeping on it or giving it a few hours, letting it calm down, taking more emotion out of it. I think it's the right decision for Brad Treliving not to speak of it, because all he's going to do is add more questions. And I don't think it would serve much of a purpose until you're further down the process of whatever appeal they think they're going to get.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that you're going to have an appeal, and that appeal is going to be based on opinion and feeling and whatever. And if you go out there and bury the league and the Department of Player Safety and Bettman publicly and then ask them for forgiveness, they aren't going to be so inclined to give you that. But I do think, Kip, going out and saying that we just think this is garbage.
Sure.
Unites sort of Leafs fans behind you.
I think it's been done already.
Yeah.
I don't think that Brad needs to put a cherry on top of that. I think it's been pretty much covered here. And I'm just wondering, too, a 4-1 victory last night. So a lot of positives last night.
Just
good energy.
tons.
Do you want to now go backwards and take maybe the focus off of a 4-1 win? I think, if they come out and they get smoked last night 6-0 or 7-0 like LA did against Buffalo, perhaps we might hear from Brad Treliving. But with such a good 60 minutes last night, I think Brad coming out and meeting the public today and refocusing on a negative like this story would kind of take away from last night.
And, Rielly's gone for 5 games. Maybe he's gone for 4 games. Total, like if they win this appeal and get it knocked down again.
It won't be heard fast enough.
Yeah. So it's probably 5 games. So, I think they probably we'll just move on here. We'll wait and see if they win the appeal or not. But to your point, for Treliving to make that the focal point today doesn't make a ton of sense.
Just move on.
Yeah.
Just move on. Yeah. Okay, that's what we'll do right now when we go to Sheldon Keefe for our first Kippers Clipper of the day on his 3,000 view from the game last night.
Guys played well. Played a pretty simple game, which was required, especially once we got the lead. You guys to step up in different ways. I thought we had a lot of great efforts tonight, and then Bobby, of course, 2 huge goals for us, and a cool empty netter to finish it off. So terrific day, or terrific end to kind of a strange day for us, quite honestly. With a lot of our lineup uncertainty and stuff like that. Bobby himself really didn't know he was going to play until he got to the rink here today. So Steve's was a very last-minute arrival for us and lineup change. So lots of things happening there. We had some other stuff behind the scenes. It was just other guys sick and trying to get them ready and guys battling through all of that. So all that considered, it was a really good effort.
So no Morgan, then the late scratches from Mitch Marner and John Tavares, and you thought for sure this one had a bad loss written all over it.
We did, though.
I don't agree.
Yeah, we called
Right?
this in here yesterday saying it's the type of spot they show up.
But I think even more so with those two guys going down, it's an even more of a spot where they win the game. And as soon as I saw that, like, you know, you read the Leafs PR tweet, they put out the tweet being like, Tavares and Marner are both out with injury. And you read all the replies to the tweet. It's like 7-0 win incoming. They're going to win. They're going to win. Like, people know this team so well.
Yeah.
And how do you quantify what happens to this team when they're missing guys and they're down and there's adversity? Like, why does this happen?
If you would like my theory, and
Yes,
check
I would
out
love-
Sportsnet.ca.
perfect.
I published an article today on this exact topic.
Good.
And so I do have a theory on it, which is basically, you know, the Leafs are a really top-heavy team. We talk about that all the time. Their big guys play all the minutes, yada, yada, yada. But you cannot play 82 games at your max level intensity. So you get games against bad teams where they don't show up, but they still play 25 minutes because that's the way Keefe rolls and all that. These guys just never get the opportunity to be the guys who carry the mail. Domi played 18 minutes last night. You know, Robertson played a ton of time. You get guys who are suddenly, hey, you matter. You're going to play even if you make mistakes. And you get these best efforts where it's like a tryout for these guys, almost like a preseason or new coach bounce, where you get the very best of these guys who say, when there's opportunity, it should be mine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And last night, I mean, that's their best game of the year, defensively by miles.
100% agree with you. Like, you are a team, and there's no question that you understand where your role is and how you can contribute. And ultimately, it really comes down to 20 guys coming together, yada, yada, yada. We all know that.
Yeah.
Then there's the quiet little voice in your head that goes against that. And we've all had it. It's called internal competition, where I heard a left winger got hurt. I heard a left winger is not playing tonight because of the flu, and I'm cheering because all it means is more ice time for me or a bigger opportunity. And I can't imagine the internal backflips that McMann had and Gregor had and Domi had when they heard no Marner and no Tavares.
Yeah, you're going to be on PP1, Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi. Both those guys for the first time this season must have been like PP
And
which one?
you're coming out like you've been shot out of a cannon last night. Gregor was like flying.
And he was showing he was like dancing around, guys. I'm like, what the hell?
What have you been doing?
Right?
Where have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
and
all
it was
skating around like, yeah, you think I'm a fourth liner? I'll show you.
Nick Robertson coming back on pucks, lifting sticks. Like,
Hey, that guy hunted last night.
yes.
Nick Robertson hunted last night.
that
I
version of him was
really
effective.
enjoyed his game.
Yeah.
So this is what Bunkus and I broke down on Leafs Talk last night. I'll get your opinion on it. Will Keefe view this as a game where he sees the lesser guys play really well, and now he's like, okay, I can trust these guys in different situations, even when the big boys come back?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
is that something? Is that something that can happen?
It's just something that we haven't really looked at much.
Sammy, you're asking, can people change?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking.
I asked Doug Armstrong that yesterday.
But he put out last night to finish the game when he has healthy Matthews. He put out
Bobby
Bobby McMann, Kampf, and Gregor to finish the game. And it's like they win the draw, win a puck battle, and he banks one in off the boards and into the net, and they win the game.
Ball corner pocket.
That will be Sheldon Keefe's greatest challenge the last 30 games. Is you're going to get these guys back as early as
Saturday.
Thursday night. Marner wakes up, feels better.
Yeah.
He's coming to the rink. Tavares, the same thing.
Yeah, Willie
Right.
wasn't at practice today either. He's not feeling good. So
Great. I imagine he was sick last night, too. 'Cause
Yeah, he
Keith
did.
implied
Yeah.
that.
Not to derail this conversation, but
Really?
I will a little bit. Think about what these guys have gone through the last little while between All-Stars and
How many hands they shoot.
Okay, first of all, I like riding the TTC, but come on. Like, they didn't have to take the TTC to Nathan Phillips Square and load them up. And
What a zag.
What a
zag.
masses.
just like, come on. They've been through a lot. They've been traveling. They've all been in airports. Who knows? They're all coming back. Cut them a break.
I mean,
Cut them a break.
Kipper, they take their subway every day.
You know,
I mean, every year is what I meant to say. They take the subway every year. And
I'm
Willie
just
takes it every
saying,
day.
but like you're really in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, the chances of you getting sick were probably as better than at any point during the season. That's all. That's my whole point.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you guys
They've
all
been
know.
through a lot.
Yeah.
To hear Marner's run down after everything that he's gone through in the last 10 days. Let's put our surprise faces on.
I know it's some of the best things for these guys. Like Morgan Rielly having a break right now is not so terrible. Marner to have a couple of nights. All right, Willie can sit one out on Thursday. Like, I don't think this is terrible for the Leafs.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I mean, if we want, we're just kind of talking about that. If we want to listen to Derek Keefe clip 8 about the plan for Rielly during the suspension, he alludes to something like that. So if you play that clip for us.
Yeah, we just because the nature of what's been happening behind the scenes with the whole situation, we haven't had a lot of discussions about that. But it has been on my mind about if he's not going to be playing, how can we manage him? Because he's obviously plays a lot of minutes for us here. We've chosen to this point to keep him going, keep him on the ice while we're uncertain of how a situation was going to play out in the period of time and all of that. But I do think it warrants a discussion in terms of how to manage him, going forward here, given that as much as he plays for us, as much as we're going to need from him down the stretch, and the fact that he didn't have the same type of break that others had, given his participation in the All-Star game. So all that stuff we'll get to in time.
So he gets it.
And he mentioned that with Matthews, too, at the end of his scrum today, because Matthews was out there for a bit, then he went off the ice, and he had given Matthews the full optional treatment today. Like, if you didn't want to come, you could take the maintenance, and he was there for a bit. And he mentioned it again. He's like, yeah, these guys, like, that was a lot. That's
they
a
were
big
the ambassadors for the
Yes.
All-Star game, right? They're involved
Bieber,
in everything.
every single event they're there. And maybe that's why they're not feeling so well.
Sure. Very possible.
All right.
They got the blue flu sweeping through the dressing room.
JB,
All right.
you mentioned more minutes, more opportunity, and the man of the hour who took most advantage, Bobby McCatrick. Let's get Sheldon Keefe's thoughts on his effort last night.
Yeah, well, a night like this where you like you look at his goals, is one, he wins a battle, attacks the net. Great finish. Second one, he's competing at the net front and then just kind of turns and fires it at the net. So you hope that kind of helps some confidence and help, make you feel like you belong in the league. But for a guy like Bobby, you want efforts like this and you want the goals to go in. But he's trying to learn to grab onto a role in the league, right? I mean, he can score. He's done that at the American League level, but it's been a challenge in the NHL. So if you're not going to score, which you're not going to get a hat trick every night. So you got to work on all the other things, do the other things really well. Be physical, be defensively responsible, be trusted, be able to kill penalties, like all things that can keep you in the league.
So I saw one of my favorite Twitter accounts, Jake B. Leafs, tweet out this, that regardless of what happens for the rest of his career, he can say that he scored a hat trick for the Toronto Maple Leafs and that the Scotiabank Arena was chanting his name. He can tell his kids that. He can tell his kids that. There was a Bobby
I
chant.
can't tell my kids
Yeah, I
that.
was going to say there's 100 and how many did I put there? 136,
32.
132 guys who scored a hat trick for the Leafs. I didn't know, Kipper, were you one of them?
I only had one crack at a hat trick in my whole career, and I shot it right in Joe Riki's head.
Okay.
Against Glenn Healy, too.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Washington versus the Islanders, and I had a whole empty net. And I'm telling you, I took a wrist shot right in, and Joe Riki sat his fat ass down in the crease and blocked it with his head.
Oh, brutal.
Oh, my God.
Lost my hat trick.
So there you go. Anyways, I just thought, that is cool. And he's been a good player.
Yeah.
He'll probably have, I don't know how many games he'll play in his career, but
Okay.
last night was awesome.
Now, if Bobby McMahon's listening to our show, don't listen to Sammy, okay? Because don't come to the rink feeling like that was going to be your best moment the rest of your
Right.
career.
Just
Think it's just the start of something.
I thought it was pretty instructive, what Sheldon Keefe said about him, which is just that they want to see him do a whole lot more. They're asking him to fill a hard role. Like the goals almost don't even matter. They want him to kill penalties and block shots and hit people. And he's big and he skates extremely fast and he shoots it extremely well. If he can do the other things and stay in the lineup, his shot will score him goals. He's got an absolute laser. He's not going to get it off a whole ton because he's not going to be put in great spots. So, do those little things, stay in the lineup. He'll shoot some in the net. He'll shoot 10 in the net if he plays a full year.
Gotta love both those goals, too. Like the power move off the boards and then the one where he's falling away and puts it top corner. Like those are two, and they're big goals for the Leafs. So
yeah.
I want to continue this conversation on Bobby McMann, but I want to bring in like Bertuzzi as well. So you've got two clips here from Sheldon Keefe. One with Domi, Robertson, and Bertuzzi, or just Tyler Bertuzzi. Which one do you like better?
Clip 11.
Okay, let's go to Sheldon Keefe on Tyler Bertuzzi.
To me, he's played good hockey. You don't get those types of chances if you're not playing good hockey and doing good things. And then also he's made good things happen. I go back to the Ottawa game a couple of games ago. He sets Tavares up for a couple of grade A opportunities in the first period. His forecheck and his disruption there. Defensively, he's done a great job for us. He's done a lot of little things very well that don't show up on the score sheet, and he's getting the chances. So that's very encouraging. And then at the same time, as I've discussed with him, he's got to work at his game. He's got to practice. He's got to shoot with purpose. He's got to take every rep in practice and have it be meaningful because, it's not. Quite honestly, it's not just a this season thing. It's last season as well. His pace is not a whole lot different than where he was a season ago. You're trying to get him back to be closer to the 30-goal Bertuzzi, but we haven't been able to do that. He's been more so what he was last season.
He just dog his practice habits?
Yeah.
He did.
He did, pretty much. Yeah. Which I'm okay with a little bit, as long as he's probably told him 1,000 times before he went public with it.
Yeah. Can't just
he went on they showed during the broadcast last night, they showed him being the first guy on the ice working at, shooting it in the net. They also showed him just bang one off the end glass with an empty net. And I was like, oh my God.
He was unbelievable last night.
Awesome.
Controlled the play. Right? I mean, he set guys up. He could have had, 7 points last night.
But the breakaway, have you ever seen a guy fight it harder on a breakaway than that? Like he made he's deked himself out.
I've never, he can't shoot the puck, right?
No.
Like
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know either. But, as far as preferential treatment, we know Bertuzzi's had it for, first 50 games. And we get it. You're paying this guy, $5.5 million a year. Like you've spent the first 50 games trying to get him going here.
Yeah.
But here we are today after the game last night, and as far as I'm concerned, that whole left side is wide open, guys. Wide open. Between Knives, Bertuzzi, McMann, Domi, Robertson, Holmberg. It's wide open. I need somebody to step up.
Wide open and not very good, or are those similar words?
I mean, the points of the guys you just mentioned, Domi 25, Bertuzzi 21, Knies 20, Robertson 15.
It can't be just a given anymore for Bertuzzi that he's a top 6 guy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, but I do think that, you watch him play last night, he's the best of the guys you named. Domi has been much better. He can create some, and he's a useful guy too. Robertson had a good game, but Bertuzzi, it's just not going in, for the love of God. But you're right. He's been given every opportunity to find it this year.
The first miss is unthinkable. He's cutting towards the open net. Binnington's going the other way.
Yeah.
He just shoot it in the net. Push it over the line.
Truly.
I don't know what else you can say. And you can talk about how he's doing other things really well. He hasn't scored since my mom's birthday, December 27th. It's a long time ago.
I have a lot of recollection of trying to tell my coaches, I had 8 chances in that game. Why are you all over me about points or whatever? And be like, you're not paid to get chances. You're not.
He paid a lot to get goals, and they're not coming.
Put it into the hockey net.
I mentioned for that blue line again without Morgan Rielly stepping up a little bit. I thought that was the most comfortable I've seen Brody probably in a very long time.
Yes. I
No?
thought Jake McCabe. Yeah, no, I thought he was way better. Totally agree. And I thought Jake McCabe looks fantastic. Like those two guys were really good last night. I guess, Brody and Liljegren were paired up. Liljegren finally got that opportunity. He was the one last night who should have had the day that Domi and Robertson and Bertuzzi had, and he didn't.
All right, let's go to Sheldon Keefe on Brody and Liljegren.
13.
Yeah, I like the pair. I thought Brody, particular on the left side, fared very well. His touches on the breakout, I thought, were much cleaner and seemed to have a lot more confidence on that side. Liljegren had some tough moments in the game in different times, but overall, I thought did a lot of good things. And there's a number of good things as you go through the shifts that you pull out that are very positive for him. So you want to clearly keep building on that.
So it's just a matter of keeping Brody on the left side now.
Sounds to me like that's what he wants to do. Like if I were to read into that, I'd say he says touches were a lot cleaner. He liked how he looked there. So I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to find a way to get him there.
That was eye-opening to me.
Yeah.
Like because he's been comfortable playing on his offside, right? For the whole time he's been here, he's played on his offside most of the time. And that's hard. He's playing the whole game handcuffed, it feels like, for 2 seasons.
And when you're not playing well, and playing with a guy like Rielly is a little harder to play with too, right?
And so I just the way he was handling the puck, it's like, oh yeah, he's a lefty.
Right.
Playing on the left side is probably a lot better. So if you're living watching that, do you think maybe if we get somebody to play with him, or you have them, Liljegren and him, play lesser minutes, and you get somebody for the top pair, I feel like that opens things up a little bit. No?
Yeah.
Magic words was getting someone in the top pair.
Well,
right.
There's options.
There are options.
They might cost you a lot, but there's options out there.
Luke Shen want to come back?
Oh, man.
You couldn't afford him once.
You could probably find a way to afford him, no?
Sammy had 4 shots on the first 15. It was pretty incredible that they could play this kind of sound defensive system, being down like that in manpower, and you're kind of wondering can they not play this all the time when guys are in the lineup too?
I know. And that's, part of my article today is that should be the encouraging part, is it's there. They can do that. I have clips in my article today. Willie Nylander coming back in the D zone, picking pucks off and taking away chances. Guys coming back, blocking shots. The expected goals for St. Louis last night was 1. Like Samson, it was the lowest the Leafs have allowed all year.
They had a couple of odd man breaks. They couldn't even get a shot on goal.
I mean, they took the night off. They must have looked at the Leafs lineup and
no, that's not it.
No,
that's not it.
They stink?
No,
the Leafs are that good.
No,
I'm gonna keep guessing.
Keep going. What was going on the weekend?
St. Louis, Kansas City Super Bowl.
Thank you. And where were they? In Montreal.
Are they?
Oh boy, 1 o'clock puck drop
without a game. Without a game till Tuesday.
Oh, what you're saying is that they may have enjoyed themselves in Montreal.
No, I'm not suggesting it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, as an ex-player, in a couple of those situations,
you don't get many green lights over the course of the season, and that's a double green.
7-8, 5 straight on the road, starts the Habs, Super Bowl Sunday. Let's fire it up.
Hard to connect the dots on St. Louis.
No, credit to you for doing it.
Yeah, that is. I was hard. I didn't think of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They didn't get their best.
You're speaking from experience.
Yes, I am speaking from experience.
They didn't. Yeah, they gave nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
I thought Robert Thomas really popped.
Yeah.
To me, if I was going to pick out one guy, I know he's their best player, but he was a little bit pass happy, and you get when Armstrong throws in the Oates comparison yesterday on our show, you understand what he's coming from. But I thought he showed. But other than that, I didn't really see a whole lot from him or from anyone else.
No.
Okay, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk a little bit of what we saw in the crease last night as Joseph Woll gets ever so closer to returning to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You are watching and listening to the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne and Sam McKee. Leaf edition of the Real Kipper and Bourne Show. Not an easy game for any goaltender when you're barely have, 3 shots on goal in the first period.
Yeah.
And Leafs jumping out to a 2-0 start.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a part of you thinking Samsonov going to hold the lead here?
No.
No?
Part of me was thinking Samsonov is it's a tough task when you don't get a lot of shots and you're not in rhythm, and then one gets tipped through him, in a way that it just felt like, those are, maybe it's unlucky, but it's tough when you don't have a lot of action. So I can't say I felt a ton of confidence.
I thought he made a couple of key saves. I didn't think that, he obviously wasn't overly pressed or busy, but it's hard to make those key saves when you haven't had a lot of action.
Yeah, and not a great game to evaluate him. Tough to see the 64 other goalies in the league or 63 others going in net in that spot and being worse or better. Just pretty easy game.
This was from Jonas Siegel on Twitter that the Leafs had 5 stalls for the goalies in the dressing room today. Samsonov, Joseph Woll, Martin Jones, Matt Murray, and Dennis Hildeby.
Ooh, that's interesting. Just one more note. Someone
No further comment.
Well, you mentioned that
when the Leafs went
while
up.
ago.
When the Leafs went up, someone sent me a stat that said Sammy's save percentage when ahead by 1 goal is the worst in the NHL. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I am unsurprised by that.
And Sammy's save percentage when ahead by 2 goals is the 5th worst in the NHL. So that meant
Hey, what game state is it good?
well, I'm just saying that last night would have been a good confidence builder
Yes.
for him.
Yeah,
personally,
it's
to
great.
shut the
Every
door.
time he can get a win, in a game like that where, you only win by a couple with an empty netter, it's good. Definitely a good thing.
And to me, you're just stacking wins without Riley. You're 1-0 without
Well,
Riley.
that's it. You're looking at a 5-game window and going,
Yeah.
God, if we're 3-2, it's okay.
Yeah.
Anything
Anything less
the
than
first
that
win,
is
you're-
disaster.
Yeah.
Philly tomorrow night,
Philly,
Philly,
Anaheim, St. Louis,
St. Louis, Arizona.
Arizona.
correct. And then it's, I think, Vegas is the next one.
Dun, dun, dun.
You get into the tough part.
Do we? Well, let's go to Sheldon Keefe for an update. You mentioned the 5 goalies today.
Woolley the goalie.
Let's go to Sheldon Keefe, clip 14, on what the heck's wrong with Martin Jones.
No. Today, just the fact that he felt comfortable going on the ice to kind of give it a test run this morning. He skated before the practice group, and that was positive. I haven't gotten a whole lot of a report in terms of how he felt, but he didn't do a lot today. It was just more kind of trying to stay up and running, but certainly not ready to really push himself at this point. So it's just a situation that is day to day, and they got to keep on top of.
Hey,
Is this the most mysterious injury of all time?
are the goalies? They got to get.
Listen.
They got to get the voodoo out for Tyler Bertuzzi and the goalies. What's going on?
How can they not be scared to death right now about their goaltending situation going into this stretch?
You can talk yourself into a lot of things as a Leafs fan or whatever, but could you create a more uncomfortable goaltending scenario than young kid who, with not much NHL experience, who is often injured, is your best choice? Samsonov, who's just a train wreck mentally this year, is your next best. And then the old guy who hasn't had a 900 save percentage in a couple of years, who's hurt now, is an option.
And it's not your top priority.
Not even close. Yeah.
When you put it like that.
They could be awesome. Woll could come back and be a 920 and be one of the best guys in the league.
But you cannot, if you're Brad Tree living today, you cannot spend any time on the phone talking about or thinking about upgrading this situation. It's just not your priority. It has to be that blue line.
Right. So you're looking at your goalie coaches and you're saying, it's up to you. Here, you take this. You think about this part of the game.
And
it's up to you.
I don't know. Is it just a hopeful wish that Joseph Woll can pick up where we saw him in those last few games before getting hurt here? Because there was that small sample size where we went,
What a player.
Oh, my God. Is he
looks
good?
So good. Maybe he'll come back and look that good. But like high ankle sprains, who have you seen come back from that, this season? Liljegren came back and hasn't been very good. Remember, Travis Dermott went through it, and he wasn't very good when he came back. Marner went through it in like 2019 or something, but I don't remember how he was when he came back.
So you mentioned the blue line. This is something that I wanted to get to in the last segment that I didn't bring up with you.
Okay.
But what were you going to say?
Oh, I just want to finish the goaltending conversation.
Yeah, it's scary.
Okay.
Terrifying.
So from the way I would handle it, that I would not play Joseph Woll between now and the end of the season.
Huh?
I would not play him like it's your net to lose.
Oh.
Okay. He
Bit of a cliffhanger there.
He cannot come back and play like 5 or 6 in a row.
Yeah, you've got to treat him like he's a part of a tandem.
You got to treat him like you have to make sure that this guy is as close to around bubble wrap as you can to get to the playoffs. He gets hurt again, he's done for the year. That's the way you got to think.
If he is in the net for the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 1 in the playoffs, I'll feel as good as most teams do about their goaltender outside of the 3 or 4 elite guys. I'll feel fine.
Got to get him there, though.
You do.
And you can't do it by bringing him back as early as this weekend or early next week and say, hey, go get him.
Here you go.
That's why,
why,
like Sammy last night, if he can come in, if Wall can play two out of 3 games, 2 out of 4 games, like almost even a split until Wall can prove that the ankle's fine for another 3 weeks or a month in, then you got a chance here to not sweat bullets on your goaltending situation.
Let's hear what Sheldon Keefe has to say on when Joe Woll will play clip 10 there.
Don't have a sense of that here yet. Today was another good practice day for him. We've been kind of taking the day at a time and communicating with him on how he's feeling, and I think he continues to feel better and better each day. So in terms of participating in games, I think he's getting to the point where we can have those discussions and start to map it out a little bit. So Tree's been a little distracted here of late, so we haven't had the chance to really nail down some of these things, but I think we're getting close there. And then, of course, the Jones situation also is a factor here in terms of how the plan may need to be changed or adapted in terms of how we projected it out a couple weeks ago.
How much does Jones make?
Minimum.
850, 750.
How much does Woll make?
Same.
Yeah, I'd probably tell you what's going to happen here pretty soon.
What's that?
Like an IR for Jones, and they just bring back Wall, and there you go.
Yeah. One in, one out type of thing.
Feels like that.
Jones
that's
is 875. Yeah, very possible. Do we want to hear the clip on Woll's mental strength as well?
I want to ask you guys about Nick Robertson.
Okay, all right.
Before we go, because we're running out of time here. What you've seen over the last, I guess, since he's solidly been in the lineup, since he's healthy scratch, but he's gotten back in there and he's been in there solidly. Like, where do you weigh him as a positive contributor for the Leafs as opposed to a trade asset for the Leafs? Because I'm having a tough time with it. I really am.
Yeah, I waffle back and forth too, because you can see it at times from him, but
I think he's made good strides.
Yeah.
So would you lean towards keeping him, or are you still very open to
Not right now. Not where the Leafs are at and where they're trying to go and where you're looking at needing a guy. You'd want to have more heavy guys than, given the way your core plays and what they do. He just, to me, isn't a fit. It's not that I don't think he's an NHL player, not that he couldn't be good for someone, but I don't. It's like I've said about Liljegren for years. What is the game state where the Toronto Maple Leafs put him on the ice? Is it when they're up? It's like, no, he's not a defensive whatever. Is it when they're down? No, he's not. That's Robertson to me. When you need goals, he's not the guy that goes out there. He's not even close to your top few guys. When you're defending, it ain't him. When is it?
You do here.
That's about it. It's just a fit thing.
I give him a lot of credit because he has turned himself into an asset, which I don't know whether or not we could have said that a short while ago when he was hurt or in and out of the lineup or even as a Marley. So I think he can play in the National Hockey League. The only thing you got to often ask, and this is what teams do when they envision trading for a guy, is where is he on a good team, on a contending team, not on a Leaf team that's up and down like a toilet seat or even a bad team like San Jose, but where would he be for you on a team contending for the Stanley Cup? Is he in your top 6 or is he in your bottom 6?
No, but see, this is the thing, and I agree that's a worthwhile question for teams looking to trade for him.
Yeah.
But to me, there are 32 teams in the league, and there's, 2 left wingers per team, and then there's the third line somewhere in there. To me, he's on a bad team. I could see him playing 15 minutes a night on a third line somewhere. I don't have him on a cup winning team. It doesn't fit to me. If he's a top 6 left winger, you're not good enough. So, but that doesn't mean he can't play in the league or play for someone. The other thing, though, Kip, is that you're buying a 22-year-old, and maybe he can become that. Maybe he can find more.
And maybe he can, but I'm not willing to pay a high price for that. So my point in asking you, where do you see him,
right,
dictates his value.
Yeah, you're selling me a lottery ticket. You're not selling me a left winger.
I'll buy that lottery ticket for a 5th round pick. But
I'm not trading it for a 5th round pick. I'd rather wait and see on the upside.
Do you think, Sammy, that he's turned himself into a 2nd round pick for you?
No, I have no idea. I'm asking you guys. I really don't know.
I don't think he's there yet.
But could he be part of a trade for Boone Jenner?
Of course he can.
Part of a trade for Chris
That's kind of how
Tanev.
you use him. I don't think you ever just trade him for a 5th.
100%.
Okay.
But is he an add-on? Is he a throw-in?
Do you think his value has improved over the last 3 weeks?
Yes.
Okay.
I do believe that.
Okay. I got a new read for you today, boys. On Tuesday, February 20th, Scotiabank Arena will celebrate its 25th anniversary, which is crazy. It'll be opening its doors to the community by offering the opportunity to skate on the Leafs home ice and shoot around in the Raptors' private in-venue practice court. For this occasion, we are offering 2 passes to this limited time event, which is awesome. To enter, listen daily to Real Kyper and Bourne for the code word, then text code word to 590 590. Today's code word is Leafs. Text Leafs to 590 right now for your chance to win. Listen tomorrow for the second code word. And if you do not win with us, passes are available at scotiabankarena.com/25th anniversary. That code word again is Leafs.
And our
Good
thanks,
code word.
Our thanks to the Sportsnet creativity department.
Oh, yeah.
On the code word.
Yes.
Yeah, well, but we don't even need
How
it.
much
At
time
least
do you
it
think
wasn't like text for, first round failure to, text Carrie Fraser to.
Do we need a new creative department?
No, Leafs is good.
Leafs is okay.
Leafs
is good to me.
Fine.
Yeah, and there's people are texting in Leafs. So good for you guys. Happy to see it.
All right. Anything else you want to cover from last night?
I mean, we did Domi, Robertson, and Bertuzzi. The Tavares and Marner getting scratched, how that happened last night. We don't have to play it, but it's funny how it is happened that at 4:30 he found out about Marner, so really late in the evening.
Yeah. How did you find Matthews without Marner?
Matthews was fine. Was pretty unremarkable.
Quiet.
Yeah. Oh, God.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
No, not quiet for you.
No, I didn't think he was any good.
I barely noticed him.
It's okay. They
Quite
can
honestly.
take a day off too, right?
Yeah.
He didn't end up throwing up like Mitch Marner did yesterday, but
Willie scored a beauty.
He can take a night off every once in a while.
Yeah, Willie's.
What a beauty that
By
was.
the way, I did notice several occasions where Willie had Matthews open and just tried to
Fire one.
Yeah.
Nice to see it go in the net for Willie.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the national edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Mike Halford, co-host of Halford and Halford. Sorry, I got no glasses. Will be joining us. You guys good?
Good.
All right. We're good. Stunning radio here on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Can't wait for the next hour. We are back for the national edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. All right, In a couple minutes, we'll be joined by Mike Halford, co-host of Halford and Bruff in Vancouver. Heard Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 a.m.
6 to 9 a.m., by the way. Can
on
you imagine?
Sportsnet 650. Were you a morning guy ever? Did they put you through the ropes here at Sportsnet in the mornings
I
at all?
did some like weeks. I did some with Greg Brady just to like try it out or whatever. But no, it's not.
Did you produce anything in the morning?
I've produced at times the morning show. I hosted the morning show for, I think, 4 weeks last summer.
Yeah.
I
How about
can't
you?
do it. No.
Hell.
Listen, every once in a while, I got a morning hit
Yeah.
with the guys at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Well, the worst part is just like
What's
if
painful? Your appearance?
Well,
or
yeah, all of it. All of it. And then you're like, you're still in a fog and you're,
right, but like if you want,
you got to fake it till you make it, right?
There's a lot of faking it because if you want to have seen the game the night before and it ends at 10, whatever, like you're up in the fours, it's no sleep.
Yeah, it's really hard.
You know, if you ever want to watch a West Coast game, you're just committing to no sleep.
And whatever, like you'll always hear morning show people say it just doesn't get easier.
No, and
Like
it's
the
like
wake-up
you can
call.
nap after, and then your day's all out of it's hard. It's a hard job.
It's a really hard job.
Plenty to get into in the next hour, including the Vancouver Canucks. Connor McDavid, only just 6 assists.
Just 6?
Just 6.
What a loser.
Last night.
Yeah, he's 13 behind Kucherov now for the league lead. Look out.
Can I read just some quick stats before we?
Sure.
Love that.
He became the 4th fastest player to reach 600 assists in 616 games played, behind Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr. The NHL single game record of 7 won off by Wayne Gretzky and Billy Taylor Sr. And most career 4-point games among active players. Sidney Crosby has 38 in 1,239 games.
Mm-hmm.
Connor McDavid has 37 in 616 games. And Ovechkin has 32 in 1,396 games.
McDavid just about to double up, Sid.
We'll talk about this more after Mike, but like we're talking 2,000 points.
Yeah.
Very possible for McDavid to be the second guy to ever do it.
McJesus.
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so the craziest part to me is the fact that one year he was like, just to show you guys I can do the goal thing, I'm going to do the goal thing, and now I'm going to go back to being this guy. So, impressive season.
The one off the charts was the 360 to Evander Kane last night.
What is that even? The defenders are just like, why? Okay.
Why'd you do that?
All right, have it
It's
then.
unstoppable.
What are you supposed to do?
And what is the NHL
He's done that one
record?
before. He I forget who he did it to before, but he's done
got a
that
few of
move
those
before.
spin
Yeah.
passes.
And the record 7?
7.
In a
7
game?
in a game. Gretzky's done it 3 times, and like a name I didn't know.
Billy Taylor Sr.
Billy Talent,
No Mario?
Nope.
7 assists in a game.
Yeah.
Taylor.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Assists are hard.
Yeah, that's 3 good games in your Matthews total.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay. Connor had 6 assists last night.
God, I baited him.
Yes. Austin Matthews
Here we go.
has had 6 assists in a month and a half.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Billy Taylor Sr. played, born May 3rd, 1919 in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
7 assist game against
Played.
You know,
Brantford
Played
Wanderers.
323 career games. A lot with the Maple Leafs.
listen, I'm not suggesting we change anything historically here. Okay. But if I was to make one change to the scoring system in the National Hockey League, I would take away the secondary assist.
Take it away outright.
Going
Take
full
it away.
KHL. Isn't that what they do in the KHL? I think it's only one. I think it's one
Is that right?
assist
Yeah.
in the KHL.
I think it's ridiculous
It's pretty rare.
that a secondary assist has the same value as a primary assist.
You know, you're not going to get much argument from me there. They are different things. I think rather than take it away, there would be value because I think there's a lot of D-men who start rushes and, you know, get the puck going. There's value in noting. It would be interesting, though, to have it separated like, you know, second assist, first assist, goals, tally them up.
Half an assist, a quarter of an assist on a
Sure,
secondary.
then, if you're giving a half assist for secondary and bring in a third assist and get a quarter point.
You're just saying this because wasn't Marner like the primary assist king for a little
I don't
while?
know.
there?
Imagine
No, he
how
was-
many
You know what,
how many
though?
assists Matthews would have if Marner could shoot.
Should it be more it should be noted. I want to know how many are direct pass from you.
Not to be condescending here, but that's available. We have that.
I don't want to look for them.
Okay.
I want them delivered on my. I want them delivered.
All right. You know what? I'm going to provide that for you.
Thank you.
I will do that.
All right. Let's welcome him in. Mike Halford from the Halford and Bruff Show in Vancouver. Mike, how are you, pal?
Good. How are you guys doing?
You want to weigh in on this riveting conversation on primary and secondary assists based on Connor McDavid's 6?
Funny. I was like furiously Googling, did KHL eliminate secondary assists? Does not appear that they have, by the way, as I do the research for the show.
They have.
I'm an idiot. No, they haven't.
I just made it up. Cool. Thanks.
It's fun. Well, because we used to have this debate not debate, but the conversation used to happen all the time because the Sedins were the masters of the primary and secondary assists because they had so many of them split between them, right? It would be one to the other goal. But, it's funny. Like, there is a bit of literature, for lack of a better phrase. I don't really know if you consider it literature, but on this, because it's really the only league that does it, right? Like, the NBA has, like, anecdotal references to, they call them hockey assists, right? But you only get the primary assists. And the same thing with, like, international football and in North America with, like, the MLS soccer, too. It's just primary assists. You may be onto something here, Kipper.
Oh, gosh. I hope not.
Analytics revolution.
And then there's always the phantom secondary assist.
When I was in junior hockey, that was a big one. You know, there was always guys hollering at the ref. 12 on there. 12 had one.
12. 14 and 12.
Yeah.
14 and 12. How are things out west, Mike?
Everyone's living the dream out here. This is great. A 4-point cushion atop the standings in the NHL. Phil Kessel coming out to have a skate with the minor league team. It's terrific. Yeah, it was a fun show this morning. I mean, that was a very sort of business-like win over Chicago last night. We were joking that we thought the Canucks might have some adversity on that trip that just wrapped up. And then we said they sort of dabbled in adversity. They tried it on for size in Boston and then a little bit in Detroit. And then they're like, we're not really big fans of this. So then they went back and won a couple games. So it's been good. It's been good living out west.
Where is the fan base on Phil Kessel coming in and being a part of this? Is this, is it more legitimate because the Canucks are one of the top teams in the league? If they would have found themselves on the outside looking in, would this have been a move that would roll the eyes back in many of the fans' heads?
Okay, so 3 things on this. One, because the management group has done such a good job identifying players and bringing them into the system, they've built a sort of inherent trust. They've got the benefit of the doubt. So if they're going to try something like this, then I think the majority of the fans are like, you know what? In Patrick Alvin and Jim Rutherford, we trust. Go ahead and make the move. 2, specifically, the connection between Pittsburgh and Vancouver has been a fruitful one. Like almost everybody that's come along from the Pittsburgh days and the Pittsburgh relationship has been good. And that extends to the players like Lafferty and Cole and Bluger and DeSmith is the backup goalie, go on and on and on. So, people are pretty optimistic about if you find someone from that Pittsburgh pipeline, like it's the chances that it's probably going to work out because, and the big one is Tocchet, right? Tocchet had a good relationship with all these guys that got brought in, but perhaps none more celebrated as the one he had with Kessel. Like, I mean, the stories of Tocchet being the Kessel whisperer when he was the assistant coach at Pittsburgh and how they were able to figure out that great fit with the HBK, the Hagelin-Bonino-Kessel line that was so vital to the 2 Stanley Cups. So there's enough optimism in the sort of theory, the idea, the concept of it. The question now is going to be, do you go from that to the actual execution of the plan? And that's where it starts to get a little murkier.
Well, yeah, I guess where do you stand on it? Like, do you see a fit? Can Kessel work with them? Like, it's a fascinating thought in theory, but to me, it's, are you better off with a bigger, faster guy who works hard and dumps it in forechecks than another guy who can, rip one in the net with a certain touch, but maybe doesn't create that touch as much anymore?
Well, I guess what's funny is I've been talking about this for months on the show because Phil Kessel is one of my favorite players of the last 20 years. Like, I love everything about the guy. I love his personality. Yeah. I love the he's got this sort of like every man's physique, and maybe he doesn't necessarily have to do the VO2 max to the nth degree and doesn't care about things like sports science. He's just an unreal athlete that he's been able to play, and he loves playing hockey. I mean, you really have to love something to be coming back at this stage of the game and going up to Abbotsford to play hockey. Like, you have to really, really want to do it. So I love the guy. The fit is a challenge because right now, I'd be hard pressed to see him be a bona fide top 6 guy just because of the workload and the minutes involved. You're not doing anything to the third line because the third line is turned into probably the best third line in the NHL. And is he a fourth line guy? I mean, the thing with Vegas last year is when, rubber hit the road and it was playoff time, they felt that when Will Carrier got healthy, he was a better fit because his game was more suited to fourth line minutes and Phil was on the outside looking in. There's also the fitness factor. I mean, you got to remember his last game, I think, was April 12th of 2023. So you're talking nearly 12 months of not having a single NHL game. And I know Parise just linked on with Colorado, and it looks like it's been okay, but this is a long layoff.
Yeah.
He's going to need to get his legs. And even if he does, I don't know where the fit is. But I think at the end of the day, the sentiment would be like, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's low risk with potentially high reward, and you may as well try it. If it doesn't work out, no skin off anybody's back. So it's kind of a freebie in that regard.
So I imagine then for sure they're looking at him clearly as a 13th forward. He's not getting in unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, and, we talked to Manny Viveros. He's the head coach of the Western Hockey League's Vancouver Giants. Now, last year he was with Vegas. He was the head coach of the AHL team in Henderson. So he was around the NHL club a lot. He was around Phil a lot. And the one thing that he told us this morning was, like, every guy on that team loved Kessel. There was, like, the sort of unintentional sense of humor that cracked guys up. He was great in the room. And then when he became a black ace in the playoffs, worked his tail off, loved being there, and was, a guy that guys could ask questions of or lean on and was never sour about being in the lineup and then being out of it. So there is value in that. I mean, Kyper, I'm sure, you probably have a couple anecdotes from your playing days about guys that didn't have as huge of a role on the ice as they did off it. And the Canucks really don't have that. As you look on paper, they're not a very vocal team to begin with. Tocchet noted that when he came in, that was kind of a quiet group, and they don't have a ton of experience in the postseason. So that's another reason why it's like, hey, if you give him a run out and he's the 13th forward and he plays a handful of minutes in a handful of games, maybe that's more than enough for everybody. And maybe it is an asset to this team and something cool for Phil Kessel as well, right?
Yes, it's honestly so fascinating. In sports, we love stories. This is a great story to follow. The Canucks have been at the center of so many great stories this year. They've, been the recipient of the best player in a big trade, I would say. How has the Elias Lindholm experience worked out thus far?
Yeah, like early days, right? He hasn't even played a home game yet. He's going to get his first one on Thursday against Detroit. So, and Tocchet admitted after I think it was the Washington game on Sunday before the Super Bowl, that he's really bounced them around. Like, he's played with 5 or 6 different forwards already, and he's been deployed on the power play. But, I mean, now they've got him playing, and granted, one game, but it looks good against Chicago with Pettersson and Nils Höglander, who got bumped up from the fourth line. So it's sort of this Swedish trio, Trey Kroner line that's got a good innate ability to play. And a couple things with Lindholm. One, I didn't realize he was as good of a puck tipper as he is. I know in his first game he scored 2 on the power play off Quinn Hughes' point shots, and Hughes said, I think the line was, if I put 50 pucks on net, he's tipping 49 of them. And I didn't realize that he's as big and as physical as he is. He had a play last night where he really just sort of muscled Jacob Megna off a puck, and that got loose to Höglander, and Höglander scored what was eventually the game-winning goal. So I like it a lot. I can see why he kind of floundered in Calgary this year, playing with, I think it was Sharon Govich and maybe Mangiapane. Mm-hmm. So playing with better players is going to be a better thing for him. And you can see it. He's really cerebral, like a bright guy. And it's just going to take time for him to find the right fit because, as I mentioned, Tocchet's had him playing with all the top 6 guys so far. And it's kind of been a bit of a jumble that way.
Are people wondering if Lindholm's going to end up being a rental or not? We know that the talks are awfully quiet with Pettersson, but where does it stand with Lindholm? I can't believe for one second they made this move without thinking that we're going to take a legit shot at signing long-term Lindholm as well.
the most interesting sort of 4D chess idea that I heard on this was from our play-by-play guy on Sportsnet 650, Brendan Batchelor. And he said, look, what you could end up having with Lindholm is if things go pear-shaped with Pettersson in negotiations, or you just feel like it's not going to happen and you don't want to run the risk of going in to the abyss, you then pivot and you've got Lindholm as maybe not an ideal replacement candidate, but one that's in-house, one that you could conceivably link to long-term, and you don't have to go in some sort of bizarre nuclear option where you're trying to trade one guy and then find another one. So I've got time for that. I don't think the Canucks necessarily picked up Lindholm with that in mind, but it is a pivot point that you could feasibly pull off because, again, they're going to have the opportunity to have him in here for a few months, get him a little more acclimated to the group, and then if it works out, so be it. Now, Alvin did say when they first acquired him that he thought there was a way that they could keep Pettersson and Lindholm. And then when I think pressed further, he was like, that's all I have to say about that. And I was like, yeah, it seems a little far-fetched, but I like the hustle. Good job. So we'll see. I think as it goes along, people are probably going to want him around for more than a rental period. But right now, the majority of people, myself included, are looking at it as let's get it through the regular season, through the playoffs, and then figure the rest out later. Not necessarily call it a rental, but just kind of look at it in the short term.
You didn't realize when he said that he meant he was going to have Kessel on league minimum. That's how he was going to make it all work. This is
right. We have to let every other player go on the roster. But my God, we're going to have PD and Lindholm, man.
Fair enough. Well, and the PD thing is just worth revisiting for us here. Haven't got a take on it in a while. Has there been any movement, updates? Has your opinion changed? Is it still just one of those things where you throw up your arms and go, we'll find out in the postseason?
We'll find out in the postseason. Actually, you know what? There is some thought out there that it's gotten so quiet and everything is clammed up so much. Everyone anticipated that the All-Star break in Toronto was going to be some sort of, moment of magnitude because they could have talked with the agents. I believe it's Newport, if I'm not mistaken. So they're based out of Toronto. And I think it was a thing where everyone just assumed that's a natural time to do anything. And we heard nothing. It's been absolute crickets. So now people are trying to turn that into something, saying it's so quiet that something must be going on. But
there's
look,
so much nothing. Maybe it's something. I love it, bro.
Yeah, it's so nothing. It could be something. It's up, down, it's left. I don't know. I mean, the bottom line is that we know the debate happens on a daily basis, right? Yeah. People are convinced and other people aren't. People, want him to be here forever. And people are saying that it's risky to sink the 12 or 13 million that you're going to have to sink into him. So it rages on a daily basis. So from our perspective, there's noise. From Pettersson's camp and the Canucks camp, there's none. And I have no idea when this thing is going to get done. I know that's why you brought me on, for scintillating analysis like that. So.
We're talking to Mike Halford, co-host of the Halford and Brough show on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver. Mike, we don't think Jimmy Rutherford and Alvin are done by any stretch here. There's some sexy names out there. Vancouver Canuck fans are bantering here. And is there a thought that they'd want to mess with the chemistry that much more?
It's a great question, right? Because Lindholm was a pretty big ad, and he takes a lot of minutes and a lot of roles, first unit power play right away, top 6 minutes right away. It hasn't necessarily messed with the chemistry because they did need another piece in that top 6. The question now is, what kind of shopping do you want to do? I could see them adding something on defense just because it's not necessarily them, but any team that goes into the playoffs is going to need depth on defense. I think it was Lawrence Gilman at one point said that, he thought that a West Coast team with the additional travel, and if you're going to make a deep run, you need to go 9 deep on defense. So they're just going to need bodies back there. There's been some talk that they could add another winger, and a guy like Vetrano out of Anaheim has kind of gotten some buzz, but this is more among the fantasy hockey trade guys that call into the show. And I'm not sure how much there is there. They've got assets to move. They don't want to move Lekaramaki or Tom Willander, their top 2 prospects. They parted with a guy who was probably the number 4 or 5 prospect in the organization, and Hunter Bruchewitz, and that was in the trade with Calgary. So they've got things to move, but I just wonder if they've done their big game shopping, and the next deal might be far less salacious or sexy or attractive, and it might be one of those more traditionals. We're going to get this guy in for a 3rd-round pick on March 7th, and he's going to add to our group. I kind of see that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah, that would make sense. So, where they're at in the schedule, here in Toronto right now, where we just went through a whole Morgan Rielly fiasco with Ridley Gregg, and people have been asking, is the Jake Wallman thing sort of a comparable, hitting the gritty on the Canucks after a win? I mean, he's having fun, right? But, they are playing Vancouver in Vancouver tomorrow night. Is there any sense that Canucks players cared about that or about being shown up and then there's going to be some sort of, backlash?
Okay, so I kept bringing it up, but as a joke. I thought I was being funny on the radio, like, I'm making a joke about a guy doing a dance generally for children, right? And then
it picked up steam.
Yeah, we kind of kept running with it, and then people were like, how are you bringing this up? No one's talking about this except for you two. But I'll say this. I remember when he did it, I just remember thinking, oh, well, that's a thing, because of the way that happened. Like, I thought the penalty shot call in overtime was kind of soft. I thought it was a tad undeserved. Don't get me wrong. I know it was a huge goal for Detroit. I know they were at home. I know they're chasing a playoff spot for the first time in forever, and the guy felt that grittying was the appropriate response. But the only reason I kept bringing it up in a joking manner was because of the Morgan Rielly, Ridley Gregg thing. Like, I was like, oh, well, we've got our own retribution on the horizon, and it kind of took on a life of its own. They have not mentioned thing one about it. Nobody has, just so we're clear. The coaching staff hasn't mentioned it. The players haven't mentioned it. We get to find out on Thursday, because that's the other thing that I brought to the table on the conversation was I was like, unlike the Battle of Ontario, there is another meeting between these two teams. They meet in 5 days' time. So if there is any hard feelings, they'll get to sort it out. But for the record, nobody from the Canucks said anything about it. I just thought it was something that caught my eye when Wallman did it. And I just wondered about, given I'm pretty familiar with guys rubbing it in and hot dogging it after having a goal scored, that they might have stuck in some of the guys' craws. That's it, though. That's it.
Kip, and going through the guys in my head, I was like, who in their team would kill him most, be most mad? And the answer is Tocchet. It's okay,
that was the first guy I thought of. Okay, good. So we're on the same page. That's what I thought of.
And Footer.
Like 100%.
Yeah. One last one here. Mike, just before we let you go, like if Jimmy Rutherford and Alvin are looking back right now at their lineup, what team are they looking in the West saying that's the team that that's the one team that we got to match up with? Or, is it Vegas? Is it Colorado? Who's their team that they look at their roster and say, yeah, we got the one to beat them now?
I mean, the one that put it this way, we are now actively cheering for Vegas and Edmonton to finish 2-3 in the division so that they can play each other in the first round and just beat the living snot out of each other, because I think those are the two that are going to be the toughest challenge. Colorado as well, 100%, but Edmonton is on such a tear. It's been such a turnaround, and the Canucks have beat them multiple times this year. Right, I think it's the 3 out of 3, including that 8-1 demolishing at the very beginning of the year, that there's going to be a lingering bad taste and everything. So Edmonton scares me a little bit. Vegas does too, although they're not as healthy. Colorado, I keep wondering if Colorado is going to make a big move before the deadline to put themselves over the top or to solve a couple of things so they could be scared. But those would be the 3. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Canucks, they're the first place team in the NHL by 4 points. They match up well with pretty much everybody, but there's some really good teams there that have the playoff experience as well. They're all going to be tough outs for no matter how well the Canucks match up against them.
Mike, great stuff, man. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for doing this.
No worry, boys. Have a good day. Talk soon.
You too, Mike. Thanks.
That is the co-host of the Halford and Bruff Show out in Vancouver. They do a great job.
They really do. It's a great show. Great guys.
And listen, I mean, yeah, I don't buy this whole kind of we're far beyond sellies as being something that gets under our skin. Like that, it's not even a comparison with the Morgan Rielly.
No, I've made the case that one of them is about sticking. Greg is sticking it to Toronto, where one guy's trying to celebrate with his team. To me, that's to
be fair,
dividing factor.
Beautiful, Gritty. He really did.
He really nailed it.
Oh, did he ever?
But don't you kind of think? Like, I'm not saying they're going to go do something. But if there's a chance to say, hey, F you to the guy, you probably don't love it.
I think if you're going to do something, this is how often happens in the NFL, where a guy will have like a signature celebration. So, for example,
they'll do it.
Yeah, when Johnny Manziel was coming in, he was like the money Manziel. Cam, oh my God, Newton did the Superman thing. So often when guys sacked him, they'd do the Superman thing. So it was like, maybe if you score a game-winning goal, maybe Elias Pettersson can hit the gritty or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's not like he's going to wear a cross-check to the chin, but...
Just my personal experience when I played way back when.
Yeah.
When I wanted to kill a guy,
Right.
it was usually an accumulation of things.
Okay.
Right? So it wouldn't just be like one instance, like a dance or a celly. It would be like, okay, again and again, enough with this guy. Someone's going to have to take a strip off of him.
It goes on the ledger in the cons side of reasons, is this a good thing or a bad thing with Wallman? It's like, it's a thing that I don't like. And if he does more things I don't like, they're starting to build up. So,
to go back to our previous conversation before we had Mike on, I looked up the secondary assist leaders in the NHL. According to Icy Data, is that a good thing, Borny? Does that work?
Never heard of it, pal.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is according to Icy Data, which seems to be very official. Who do you think leads the league in secondary assists?
Quinn Hughes.
Nope.
Defenseman.
Is that wrong? Do you have something different?
A defenseman?
Okay. Nope.
Kucherov.
Still be one of the big boys.
It's
Kucherov
Nathan
or McKinnon or McDavid.
Yeah, just guys who are on the ice a lot on the power play.
Kale McCarr's second. Philip Hronek is third. Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid, Barkov, Tim
I saw
Stützle.
for first assist, Marner has 24 and Matthews has 14.
So,
To check.
did you know who leads in primary assists?
I
By
got
a ton.
McKinnon.
It is not McKinnon.
No?
It is
Kucherov.
Connor McDavid has
Connor
34 primary assists. And I said by a ton is one. Kucherov has 33.
Okay, so McDavid at 34,
Yep.
and then who's second?
Kucherov's 33.
Kucherov.
Then JT Miller with 32. Then Matthew Tkachuk and Matthew Barzal would round out the top five. And you know who's really high on this list that's super impressive is Noah Dobson with 27. 27 primary assists for him this year.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
I agree with you that's like a pretty relevant thing. Like this guy directly
It's
is creating
different
the
guys.
goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, seeing that it's like different guys makes it more relevant.
Yeah.
to me.
Than just the usual guys.
Yeah, and William Nylander's up there too with 24. Same with Marner, 24. So interesting list. Glad you made me look that up, Kippy.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some game time?
Game time.
Let her rip, Sammy.
It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds to find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Now, I was looking at the futures because we looked at the Calder yesterday. And now with these, because there's some pretty heavy favorites on here in terms of the major trophies, you can bet against the field. So Connor Bedard to win the Calder is minus 200. The field is plus 160. So if you think somebody else is going to get there, you can bet on the field at plus 160. But for that one, it's pretty clear that if it's going to be anyone other than him, it's Faber, and he's 3-1.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. Faber. Yeah.
Faber.
Brock Faber.
The Hart Memorial Trophy is one that's interesting to me because Nathan McKinnon is minus 115 favorite to win the Hart. But if you want the field, it's minus 105. So you're getting almost even money, and you get a lot of really good players who could have great second halves. Like McDavid is on fire.
Yeah.
And he could easily get himself into the top by close to the end of the year.
After last night, The Athletic actually has him as the favorite. Dom Lucian put out his rankings today.
Really?
Quinn Hughes third, Matthews fourth, Kucherov fifth in that.
But
their
McDavid
rank.
is one
Yep.
over McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't agree with that.
6 assists last night is a lot of points.
Yeah, that helps. That helps.
You know,
6 in one
tilts
game
the,
really
tilts
does
the
help.
scales a little bit.
And you can also bet on the same for Quinn Hughes with the Norris. He's a minus 180 favorite to win the Norris. You can bet on the field at plus 145. But if you look at who's actually favored on this list here, it's Quinn Hughes at minus 180, Cale Makar plus 160. The next closest is Noah Dobson at plus 2,500.
Wow.
So they're
big
pretty
distance,
sure that it's going to be one of those two guys, and they're not giving you any juice on anyone else. And the Rocket Richard clearly is Matthews is minus 300, and then you can bet on the field at plus 225 if you think somebody's going to get really hot. So I just thought that was interesting that they've kind of changed it up there because there's some pretty clear favorites in all the categories. And as far as games tonight, not a ton on the go. Panthers in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. Sorry, Sharks huge underdogs against the Jets, and the Wild in Arizona Coyotes almost even money.
Look at the over-under in the Florida-Pittsburgh game if you have that.
I do have it. The total is 6.
6, pretty, yeah, and even money on both sides of that?
Plus 100 on over, minus 120 on under. Okay. So there you go. That was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Just one note on that Calder Trophy. Like, they don't want it slipping out of the hands of Connor Bedard.
ESPN is just like leaning on the scale.
Just like, and Brock Faber should get it.
Yeah, you're right. But they're like Minnesota, a defenseman.
Yeah,
we can't sell this,
We can't sell that.
So
we can't sell that.
What you're saying is when Connor Bedard returns next week and he starts shooting him in the net, that number is going to go from minus 200 to minus 500 again.
Yeah.
Really good point. That actually might be the bet.
That you're never going to get a better number than minus 200 now.
But
it is the writers who vote on that. So I can't see how ESPN, unless they talk to their voters.
I don't know. It's just the writers can get caught up in that sizzle too.
Yeah. I vow to remain strong.
You know, one thing that kind of
is
one thing that's kind of sliding under the radar a little bit on this Brock Faber is the price that Rob Blake paid to get Fiala.
Oh, was he part of that trade?
Go back and look at that trade, guys.
Oh, no.
Yeah, go back and look at that trade. It was Kevin Fiala. Went to L.A., and he's a good player.
Yeah.
With the first-round pick as well.
Ooh,
Brock Faber and a first-round pick.
A 19th overall, not like a 30th.
No, a top 20 pick plus Faber. And we're talking about a guy right now that could be in the league as a bona fide 1 or 2 defensemen in the National Hockey League. Like, you don't give up wingers for the type of player that Faber's going to end up being.
And they also gave away Dursey.
And
was it a second?
Yeah.
They gave Dursey away for, and he's lighting it up for Arizona.
Fiala's also making $8 schmil a year until 2028 or something.
And they also got Liam Ogren in that trade. That was the first-round pick. Is a Swedish guy playing in the Swedish Elite League right now. So that's That's crazy. That's a tough one.
All right, well, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we return, we're gonna get some sound from Ridley Gregg too. I think we have that, don't we?
Oh, we have it.
All right, we're gonna talk a little bit more.
Do it again if I had the chance.
He's heading into my kitchen.
Is that what he said?
He's heading into my kitchen, boys, getting ready to slam the cupboards.
We'll find out exactly what he said when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. We're back, Real Kyper and Bourne. So Ridley Gregg spoke after the 6-3 victory last night over the Columbus Blue Jackets. And
Red Hot Sens.
Couple.
Always red hot.
Excellent teams going head-to-head there.
Sens are good.
Oh, yeah, great.
So we have
win
not,
all the time.
we did, up until after the game, we did not hear a word from Ridley on his now famous empty net slap shot goal.
75.3 miles per hour of hate.
He did score last night as well.
Tipped one in.
Apparently got a huge ovation the second he touched the puck the first time.
Oh, man. If you're a Sens fan, you loved how that went down.
Oh, you couldn't love it more. You truly couldn't love it more.
You win the game. You draw
got that
suspension.
We have him talking for sure. Do you want to play it there, Derek?
Did he catch you off guard?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think you're ever expecting the guy to come cross-check you in the face. But I'm not sure if he meant to do that, but a little bit.
This is our first chance to obviously talk to you since, but can you just even walk us through that sequence and just deciding to wind up there and what kind of was going through your mind and the emotions that were maybe going through you?
Yeah, just a lot of adrenaline, just the heat of the moment, heat of the game. It was an emotional game. I just got a breakaway and thought I'd bury it.
Sam, how you doing?
My first thought
I love that.
is like asking Ridley, what's it like not expecting a cross-check to the head? Like, I played my whole life expecting a cross-check to my head.
When you look at a man and he's coming towards your face with
angrily,
a stick, probably should expect it. That's the thing that kills me. Everyone's like, oh, he wasn't look. He was turned looking at him after he took a clapper into an get your hands up, and this never happens. There's no suspension. There's no nothing. It's a lot like what Nick Cousins does after he throws a big hit. He just stands there and looks stupid, and the guys bury him. It's like, expect it. It's hockey.
Yeah, it's funny. I think you have to play that up, though, right? You can't be like, I knew what I was doing. You can't say that.
From a Toronto Maple Leaf angle, we get that side.
Yeah.
But from an Ottawa side, too, like, I think it's in a season where it's just been nothing but a disappointment.
Yeah.
I think I would like Ridley Gregg on my team.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
energy. He's a talented player. He's got some gumption here. I think every once in a while you got to be known for something, and this is really the start of his career right now.
Yeah.
That he's known as a guy that could do this or maybe learn something from it, but I'd hate to see him now kind of disappear and not be a guy,
two ways, right?
not be a guy that goes back and gets lost in the crowd. He's kind of stepped up a little bit. I hope he runs a little bit with this.
Yeah. You don't want to be a guy who did a silly thing and it got some attention or whatever. You know, this can be something, when you look at the cumulative list of what Brad Marchand has done, it's like, it's because he kept doing it that everyone's like, this guy, say what you will, his nose is in everything, pun semi-intended.
He literally licked somebody's face.
Yeah, like he's constantly in the mix. But if you can't lick a guy's visor, then never do anything else. You know, this has to be a part of the fabric of who he is. I
saw the highlights in the game last night. Didn't see the game, but I saw the highlights. I saw future Leaf Boone Jenner take him down.
Boone Jenner did put a pretty good lick on him.
Oh,
but that's part of you put a target on yourself.
You want to be a guy that people want to take runs at. It means that you're pissing them off.
I know. I don't know.
It means you're doing something right.
That means you should anticipate the odd cross check to the chin.
I played with Ridley's dad in Hartford.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mark Gregg, like the best guy.
Okay.
Really good guy, and there's no question Ridley's a great kid too.
Yeah.
Automatic. Guilty of being a great kid by association here. And I know his dad well enough to say, yeah, Ridley, probably not the best idea. Maybe you want to take something off the slap shot a little bit. And there'd be a learning kind of experience there for sure. But I hope the kid doesn't lose anything off of it, because I think he's got a chance for a really good career here.
Yeah, for sure. Great. I think he's a good player and also just super young, right? Like, I don't know if you remember the decisions you made at 21. Maybe you were in the NHL or whatever and you weren't making dumb decisions.
Not even close.
I was in college making really poor decisions consistently. And, you know, there is some time where you look back when you're 31, 41 and go, oh.
I'm just looking
I don't even have this as a really poor decision, you know?
No, I'm with you.
I just have it as just a goofy thing to do. That's all.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I'm not that.
We do not agree.
I'm not that bothered by it.
I'm looking at Mark Gregg's hockey DB.
Yeah.
Hell of a hockey DB.
How many empty netters?
I can't tell that on here. But like some wild teams. AHL, IHL, DEL. It's very cool.
Could shoot the puck too.
Played one year for the Hamburg Freezers.
I mean, that just can't be real.
Played for what's the Quebec Raphael? Like, what is the Raphaels?
Shreveport Mudbugs.
We might have to get him on the show.
Houston Aero. Yeah, I mean, I'm not texting him.
This is our producer.
But listen, I don't know. Hockey people are simple people. Like
That's an understatement.
And you know, there's some people that said that they love the entertainment of what that brought.
Yes, the league should love the way that played out.
Toronto, Ottawa again, put some fire in everyone's belly. Would have been nice to see them in one more game here.
Do you think Morgan and Ridley will have a fight? Have a good old fashion?
I don't even know if it's that. It's like, I hope there's something that happens in the next game that warrants a fight more than that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's got to be an accumulation of stuff. If Ridley goes back out there and hammers somebody or, you know, does something against something stupid, then it just adds to the element.
I don't think Ridley's not going to get hit the next time they play the Leafs. Like, I don't think they're going to outright forget it.
I mean,
I think it's over.
It's October next year.
It's over. No good fight. But I think there's some I hate this guy to this now.
Yeah.
Do you know? Speaking
right.
of Ottawa, Brady Tkachuk had a hat trick last night.
Yeah.
Columbus.
Listen, they're
Top 10 favorite player in the league for me.
They've got 30 games to go, and there's despite how bad their season has gone, I don't think there's a better team still out there to sell hope than the Ottawa Senators.
They're the best bad team by miles.
That's all they got.
I know, but it's
Every year, that's all they sell.
It's a good got.
Well, it's
Sammy.
true.
But they're legitimately, they have talent. They have talent on the roster.
Kyper, they've been selling this exact same hope for the last 3 second halves of the season.
Yeah, I'm not debating you on that, but there's still a team that a lot of people would be envious of having to start.
They are still last in the Atlantic Division, but
God, they really buried themselves, eh?
Yeah. But they're only a -7 goal differential team. You know, the Canadians are -37. I think by the time the Capitals -37, Blue Jackets -41. Like, they're going to be an okay team. They're a few pieces away. Maybe Craig Berube has been mentioned.
They only have to jump 6 teams to get back in the playoffs picture.
I'm not saying they're making the playoffs this year, but this is like Vancouver last year, where it's like you can see pieces there.
I said I was back. I'm back.
You're back, baby.
Oh, I hate them so much.
I do find now the last couple of years, and I don't know if it's the system or just teams are tired or what, but like it's looking like a snail's pace for teams to try to grab a wild card spot. Like, and again, last night,
Who wants to lose the least?
A pretty good example. And, you know, you guys have used the Toronto Maple Leafs every once in a while. They'll lose a game or two, and you're like, they're wild card, and they could miss the playoffs. And it's like,
it's a great impression of me, buddy.
It's not bad.
Who's catching them, Sammy?
But the Devils are
in
2
the
points, 2 points out of the wild
They
card
have
spot.
no goalie. Get a goalie, and then we'll talk.
Devils might win the Stanley
Okay.
Cup still. Clip that.
Your Islanders.
Islanders are.
What is going on with your Islanders? They get this coach who's got all this moxie and coming in and going to change the world, and
Okay,
they can't get past the Kraken.
Islanders fans, don't listen to this. Just turn off the TV for a sec. Or
What is
whatever.
going
It's
on
just-
there?
They're not that good. They're just not that
But
good.
their defense got healthy.
Yeah, their defense got healthy, so they should be better. But I mean, they are porous defensively as a team. That Seattle team that beat them last night was coming off a game the night before. They've been losing like crazy, and by every metric, they outplayed the Islanders. Like, they're just a little old, a little slow. All right, take it easy. You know, I still think they're going to tease that final wild card spot. They'll be around there, but they're not that.
Now,
good.
one team I could be a little wrong on is the Pittsburgh Penguins, because I had them a week ago, 10 days ago, going, come on, guys. You got Sid. He's got Sid. That's all I need to say is you have Sid, and he's really, really good. Please tell me you can get in the playoffs still with Sid.
They can.
Don't talk about playoffs.
They're 3 points, they're 7 points out of a playoff spot, but they have 3 games in hand on every team above them. So they need to string together some wins here.
Maybe their general manager will come out and say they can and they will make the playoffs.
Has their general manager talked much this year?
I haven't heard a whole lot.
No.
Definitely when he didn't come. Definitely not when he came here. That's for sure.
3 games.
Not a word, right?
Not a word.
Everything's great.
3 games on
Brandeau's on
tap
the vault
tonight,
today.
including Florida Panthers in Pitt.
Yes.
And that one's going to be a tough one.
The last time those two teams played, I have never watched an NHL team play a game more offended than the Florida Panthers. They played in Pittsburgh, and it was just every little thing. It was a total disaster. There was a fight. They are chasing Letang around.
They are so old school.
They
the
are.
Florida Panthers.
They are.
They're mean. They got swagger.
Yeah.
They'll challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
And like every game, I haven't seen them take too many nights off.
That's what I mean. It's just they have the ability to be offended by every little thing. And that's why the Leafs' goal should not be to pass the Tampa Bay Lightning. Much like Halford was saying with the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers, you want those two teams to play each other in the first round. Like, you want the Battle of Florida, and you go into the Metro and play the Rangers or have to deal with the Bruins. I know neither of those are easy, but they are way better matchups for the Leafs than the Cats are. Like, that's a horrifying matchup.
Yeah, the Rangers are. I know they've won a bunch in a row here,
They're a
but
good team.
They're flawed. They're offensively kind of one way.
Panthers, and they're not going to be pushing you around the whole game.
Meow.
God, I hate that drop. I'm gonna go punch Derek when I see him next time. I hate that drop so much.
Good drop.
Did you just sneeze on the air?
Yeah. Is that against
No.
rules and regulations?
I've been in broadcasting for like 25 years now.
Yeah.
I've never sneezed on air.
You just had your nose broken so
I
many
don't
times.
know.
It's just like passageways.
I'll go home and I'll sneeze like 9 times in a row, but I've never done it on air.
I'm going to keep an eye out for this. Actually, I can't pin it down. Don't think you ever have. By the way, healthy as a horse, too. I haven't missed a shift this year. Good for you.
You just jinxed me, didn't you?
Yeah. Monday after the All-Star game was a fight, but other than that, we've been good.
Dragged him in here.
Horses.
Just Valentine's Day today, boys. I don't know what you guys have planned or nothing planned.
I just talked to the guy who invented Valentine's
Dave
Day.
Valentine's.
I
don't know.
I
Where
think it was
is
Hallmark.
he?
I think it was Hallmark.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say, because I think we have a lot of males that listen to the show. People get their back up at this one. They're like, it's stupid. It's an invented holiday. You can just, show a little love. Show a little love. All it matters. Like,
Not
listen,
that hard.
I'm not Mr. Relationship advice here, but just get some roses. Get a card, chocolate, go for dinner, do whatever you want to do. Just, I'm not Mr. Casanova, but it's not that hard. Okay, it's a stupid holiday. It 100% is, but just embrace it. It's one day.
I think that's really nice advice.
Thank you.
The only thing I'll add on to that is, you don't feel like you have to go buy something really expensive, right? Do you have a little?
Listen, every day is Valentine's
With you?
Day for my wife. Okay?
I want her on that. I want her opinion on that.
Every day.
Okay.
If anyone deserves a card and a box of chocolates,
Dealing with you.
it's your
It's
wife.
one thing I don't need is chocolate in the house.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Okay? You had this drawer for the last 2 months.
It was Valentine's Day for us.
Okay,
Every
what
day
is
we
going
had
on with
chocolate.
you and sugar? Because
Yeah.
I don't touch the stuff unless I see it.
Yeah.
And when I do see it, you get me in big trouble.
It's like your wife. I need to keep my blood sugar up so I don't get grumpy so I can deal with you. So I keep a fresh supply
I
of chocolate
keep you
on hand.
on
So
your toes.
You do.
Enjoy the dinners tonight. Get some roses, some chocolate for your significant other, and enjoy some time spent together. I'm going for dinner with my wife tonight. It's nice. Enjoy it.
That's really sweet.
There
Hey.
it is. Yeah.
Like, what happened last night? You in the doghouse?
Yeah.
Like,
No.
there's
As soon as
something
these mics go
happened now.
off, we need to have a
You
chat.
don't suck up like that
You
for
think my
no
wife
apparent
listens to
reason.
this show? Are you crazy? Are you
No, I
crazy?
don't.
Maybe just try to clear your conscience or something. I don't
listen,
know.
Listen, I'm a lover, boys. That's
There
what you
you
don't know
go.
about me.
You're
I'm
not a
passionate guy,
fighter.
that's for sure.
We know you're not a fighter. All right. Great job today, guys. Got through 2 hours. Nobody from HR is knocking on our door right now. It's a good sign. Mike Halford from Halford and Bruff, thank you very much for your time at the top of the hour. 3 games on tap tonight, including ours on Wednesday Night Hockey at Sportsnet. San Jose versus Winnipeg.
See if these Jets can get rolling again.
All right. And if you get a chance, give us a rating and review. If you can't catch us live, you can always download us on any of your favorite pods. Have a great night, everybody, and we're back tomorrow.